Hey, welcome everybody to the World of Dragons podcast, the podcast where two and a half dragons get together to discover, review, and discuss dragon-centric or prominent content, including but not limited to books, movies, games, TV shows, to help all you other dragon fans out there find the next piece of media or literature that you wish to drown in, because drowning is fun.
Is it though?
I was gonna say that was the most perfect intro you've ever fucking done, and then you
And then just drop the ball at the end.
because
The,
drowning
the
is
next piece
fun.
of, because drowning is fun, says the sea dragon.
Says the sea dragon. Says the sea dragon who I am forcing through Baldur's Gate.
Forcing is a strong word.
No, it's Bantam. It's forcing.
Nah.
I mean, I'm having fun playing and enjoying it, and every now and then I'll be like, "Hey, Bantam, you want to play?"
yeah, that's
The
true.
only thing he's doing is dragging me back to start.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Then I'll win the bet.
I become Ray.
Wait, who bet what?
I don't.
Me and Soren have a bet.
I
going on.
know,
Oh, Soren, I don't know about this one.
but like
You weren't
the
paying
bet
attention to
was
this tomfoolery? Like, me and him have a bet going on that your save games are going to be. He's betting it's going to be less than 8 by the time the 4 of us finish our campaign. I'm betting it's more.
oh, but we have to make it all the way to Act 2 or something for it
Yeah,
to
that's
count as
his rule, Act 2.
Yeah, so in that case, we've never reached Act 2.
Oh, God, I'm going to lose this bet.
I
It's gonna be 0.
I told Ray that we should just switch it to easy, play our good boy campaign, and just plow through
Easy's
the game.
broken, so we would do it unbalanced. The enemies get the same +2 bonus that you get on easy, so everyone's going to hit more often. So balance, I think, is actually
But they also have
slightly
So, Ray,
easier.
what book are we reviewing today?
Anyway, this episode we're reviewing the book. I already forgot the order again. Fuck, I think it's called Scales of Empire.
Scales of Empire
From the Dragon Empire series
by
Kylie Chan.
Yep.
Kylie Chan A. Nailed it.
Nailed it. First try.
First try. All right. This is also the podcast where we have false starts because people forget to turn their mics on.
It was on, it was just the wrong microphone.
Anyway, that's why the opening went so smoothly this time, because I said it already.
So you're welcome.
Because
In a
both,
bird.
both Ray and Diletan have to fight with their PS4 controllers for audio. Because their
Yes,
PS
PlayStation controller will always be superior. You can sit down on that superior hill of no microphone.
I'm making a poll later.
Oh, Tricenix is on my side.
Is he, though? I don't know.
Maybe?
All right. Well, before we get into the book review, we're going to go through our normal, dragon news, right? We got dragon news? I think we have dragon news. Bantam,
Yes?
you said you wanted to give the dragon news.
I don't remember what the dragon news was.
The Patreon for
Oh, yeah.
Golden... Yeah, for
Yeah.
Golden Treasure, too.
Yeah, so... yes. So, very, very happy to find out that Dreaming Door Studios has posted a Patreon to help fund Golden Treasure 2. Which
It's called Hierophant. It's not actually Golden Treasure 2, but that's just what we refer it to as, so people know it is, directly linked to Golden Treasure.
Yeah. A lot of people consider Golden Treasure to be the quintessential best dragon game. As someone who
Dragon game.
has played it, I agree. And
The only thing I can fault it on is it's too short.
yeah. So the thing is that when longtime listeners have heard that we did interview Ludwig, the creator, and
I think that's still our most listened to episode.
yeah, he was hesitant to ever do something like this because he's afraid that it's going to, corrupt his vision in a way because, Patreon typically they have to offer rewards and stuff, and it's like, no, you just have them put their name in the credits, like you helped. That's it. Like, don't compromise your vision. So they finally did it. They made a Patreon to help fund their next game. The Patreon will be linked in our Discord under announcements. And so, yeah, if loyal listeners could do us a huge favor, if you're in other Discords, maybe let people know.
Spread the word. Go, my minions. Far and wide.
I'll allow you to use the $5 shill I give out to help out Golden Treasure. But the next month you
Hey, there it is, the $5 show. But yeah, I'm very excited. It's my one of my favorite games. The only problem is it is short, and by short I mean like it's kind of a choose your own adventure type game that it has elements of that, and there aren't enough options to make each playthrough actually feel different. I think I haven't actually tested this, but I'm pretty sure you could go through the game in such an optimal path that you actually hit every single event because like, well, this gives me bonuses to that, so then I can succeed this check, and then this takes this long and whatever. I think you might be able to hit every single event.
Hell, Streamfoster in our Discord actually managed to submit a speed run for 30 minutes.
Well, I mean, speedrunning is different. I'm talking about like go through and hit every single event node, so like you get every single dialogue screen.
No, it was 100%
Which
speed run, I think.
I don't know. What maybe the point is there's not enough content for it to be a choose your own adventure and actually have each choose your own path be different. They also released the mod tools a while ago, so hopefully we
That
see more.
breathes more life into the first game.
Yep. And then the second game should be here in 3 to 20 years.
Oh, if Ludwig's listening to this, please add a confirmation so I don't accidentally eat my puppy again.
You ate your puppy?
I when I was playing my game, I like took a little dog with me and had him in my cave for a while, and the notification, the little text bar flew up, and when I clicked, it accidentally ate the goddamn dog.
You monster.
It was a misclick. Thing flies up so fast.
Yeah, it kind of does. If you're going fast, like click, 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 then that can happen. Anyway, any other Dragon news?
I don't think so.
Nothing non-Baldur's Gate 3 related. It's the only thing we've been doing.
Then I guess in other worlds,
Oh,
Bantam and I have
now
been
you
drowning in
decided to
Baldur's
do
Gate
the Other
3.
Worlds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3.
So I won't tangent off too hard, but back when Ray and I used to play Divinity, every once in a while a mod would come out and Ray's like, oh, we gotta play with this new mod, we gotta start over because I want to make a new build, and we ran Divinity 2's first act of Fort Joy so many times that we have it down to a science, like to the point where we'll split up, we join up, we split up, we join up to just plow through the first act. And I got sick of
Feels
it.
good.
I got sick of it. I honestly got like we would be running around and be like, you think we're ready for the Griff fight? You think we're ready for the Gators? You think we're ready for Magister Orvan? And I was terrified that was going to happen again with Baldur's Gate 3, so I told Ray he has 3 restart tokens, and after he uses those, I have permission to play single player and cheat. And he has not used a single one of his tokens. Guess how many I've used, though? I think
Like 6.
we've restarted 6 or 8 times just because I'm like, I don't like the direction that our campaign's going. Let's start over. But yeah, at least I found my favorite class. It's definitely Ranger.
Fuck you.
Because high ground bonus with bows is a holdover from Divinity 2, and yeah, it doesn't work quite that way in D&D, but having high ground bonus, having a better chance to hit because I'm higher up, fucking love
God,
it.
I hate dex builds so much in D&D.
Oh, I do have some news. Kind of Dragon news. Also related to Baldur's Gate 3. Mostly. Actually, it's all related to Baldur's Gate 3. But apparently there's a shop in Baldur's Gate that's called the Face Swapper, Face Sculptor. So character recustomization could be coming in a later patch. You can't get into the store right now. It's labeled like it's supposed to change character experience, but it's completely locked.
That is very good news because that's one of the things that everybody on the subreddit screaming about.
I know. I have the ugliest lime green eyeshadow I want to get rid of.
You just want to go and have your green eyes finally.
That too.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun game, but I feel like some things are missing because they tried to get the game out faster.
You haven't even seen all the game.
Well, apparently in like Acts 2 and 3, it starts falling apart as far as bugs go. Like it's not completely polished there.
But Act 1, they've had so long to polish because it was the early access. Like once you left the initial area, that was the end of early access. So they had plenty of time to make sure Act 1 was pristine.
Mhm.
But no one ever saw Act 2 or 3. So apparently people say that when you get to Act 3, things really start to break down.
I mean, in
Yeah,
their
and I
defense, there's
just
a lot of parts working together.
there are a lot of parts. It's a big game, and like I'm not actually complaining. It's just like something I noticed. But when I say things are missing, I mean like small things, like the fact that your guardian can't be a dragonborn for one. Like that feels weird and out of place. The fact that you can't recustomize your character. The fact that you can't, when you're choosing a class, you can't see what you get down the road. Like if you choose wizard, it doesn't tell you like at level 6 you'll get this though, right? It's a lot of small things that maybe they just didn't think of it, but I feel like they're obvious enough because other CRPGs have had it that they probably just put it aside for now, get the game out, or add it in a few patches down the road.
Yeah, I think they were more focused on actual playability than quality of life. Quality of life comes after release.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see a video on YouTube because I was trying to determine something, but I saw what Divinity Original Sin 2 looked like in its first early access iteration when it first became playable versus what it is now, and it is night and day. So we'll see fixes.
Mm-hmm. All right, we ready to get into this book?
Yes.
It's a weird ass book, yes.
Dilettante, did you actually finish it?
I wasn't lying, I actually did stop. There's like a few minutes left in it. When I heard what happened, I was like, no, this is ridiculous. I actually
Okay.
threw my hands up and fucking
But
frustration.
you got like 99% of the way through it
Pretty
then.
much, yeah.
Okay. You just gave up in the epilogue.
I gave up on the epilogue. That epilogue kind of pissed me off.
All right, so Dilettante gives it the stamp of did not finish, but by barely, and only because of an anatomy concern he had. We'll get into it later because being the epilogue, it is spoilerific.
Spoilerific.
Spoilerific. Um, I guess disclaimer. Not really important right now for the spoiler-free review. But when we get into the second half, the deep end discussion, I read this book and the other two as part of my mission of scouting things out. And I read them like I think 2 months ago. It was pretty recent. So I did not reread it just again for the podcast. So while I know everything that happens, I might be a little confused on individual characters' names or the exact order of what things happen in.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so first point of the spoiler-free review. Overall, its quality. Was it actually a good book? Was the writing style good?
Uh,
Were there any grammatical errors or anything like that?
I mean, you can't really tell in an audiobook.
yeah, that's true. Uh,
You can talk about grammatical errors in an audiobook. You can't see punctuation, but like if a sentence is weird, really weird.
I liked it. I liked it. It was a little bit more simple than most books. Like there were a lot of examples that stuck out to me where a character would say something and then it feels like there was a period and then the author wrote I stood period. And it's like there were a lot of character says blah 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 blah. They charged. Blah 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 blah. They stopped.
I would need to see like a particular example of that happening because that could just be the author trying to do some interesting pacing, and then the narrator themselves were not able to convey that with how they read it.
Yeah, it didn't bother me. I liked it. I thought
I
it
mean,
was
when I tried writing some stuff, and like I think it actually exists in the prologue of the book that I tried writing like 2 years ago. I did that a couple times where like there's a paragraph, then like line break, new paragraph, 2 words, line break, new paragraph, right? Because I'm trying to do that for like pacing,
yeah.
trying to make it seem
Dramatic two
tenser.
words.
Yeah, dramatic, exactly. So that's possibly what happened. I would need to like we did the audiobook, so I would need to see how the pages written out to actually know if that's what they were going for.
Yeah, I do have one thing to get off my chest.
Hmm?
Uh, I may have to say that if not taking first place, definitely a close second. This narrator, best narrator I've heard in a really
Oh
fucking
yeah,
long
no,
time.
hands down.
There were first of all, she did male voices really well. Every character sounded unique to the point where I knew exactly who was talking at any time. Um, she did Oh my god, she did the thing that I said in one of the other episodes that I wish more fucking narrators would do. She added fucking like she used like a third party program to fuck with her voice for certain voices. Like when someone had to speak through a rebreather or a robotic voice, she fucking messed with it. Uh, the only time,
Oh yeah, I remember the helmets. Yeah.
the
No, there
only
was an
time I,
insect that I thought
yeah,
was
no,
breaking my
the
speakers too.
that was the only one I did not like. That hurt my ears. When there were some bugs talking and they added like that weird clicking like
They added
spider
background clicking crickets
and
and
like
like
yeah, it it was absolutely infuriating, and I had to like turn down the audio because it like think of any movie where there's giant spiders, and when the giant spiders move, think of the sound effects that most movies add. Like that shit was playing in the background every single time the bugs talked, and I hated it. But yeah, best or second best narrator I've heard in audiobooks.
Oh yeah, she was great. I love the voice she does for Mark.
Yeah.
Mark is the best character, hands down.
So how was you led the narration? How was the author's writing style?
It wasn't infuriating. Like I said, like I can pick out usually when I'm listening to or reading a book where they use so and so said too many times, like or characters don't use that at all, and you just have multiple characters talking over each other, so you have to go back and I guess this is mostly a problem for physical books, but like there are a lot of times where there'll be two characters having a really deep conversation and I kind of forget who's who, so I have to scroll back and go, okay, she started the conversation, so every other line is her, and didn't have any of that issues in this book. There weren't too many characters in one scene at any time. I think like the most at any time would be like four, which was appreciated. Actually, I think five. I think five was the highest that I could count, like as the amount of people in a scene all talking or conversing or interacting.
Yeah, I don't really have any complaints about the writing style. That's not really something I pay attention to while listening to an audiobook.
Yeah, the weird thing is like what I noticed when I whether I read or listen, either or, I don't I guess I need to take a class on how to critique writing or whatever because I never really noticed anything good to point out like, oh yeah, it was good, nothing bothered me, but I'll notice when things are bad.
Well, then that's when we
But
should
yeah,
bring it up when it's
I
bad, because
mean,
yeah,
that's a rare
there's nothing
instance.
bad. Everything was pretty good. Like maybe at a couple points, particularly in book 2 and 3, more likely, things felt like they dragged on a bit. Maybe.
Yeah, I have some pacing issues about stuff that drags on in this book, which I won't be able to talk about right now.
Stuff drags
But
Um,
on in
I
this
think
15-hour long audiobook? No.
I mean that's
the thing is,
on
I
the
feel
low
like
end.
most of the stuff was like actually like important, and it didn't drag on to where it became annoying or unwelcome. But just like they're taking a quite a bit of time talking about jewelry or whatever.
I disagree. There were a couple scenes in this book that I was like, enough, move on.
Yeah,
Ray,
but I
you're the
don't
kind of
remember any of
person that likes a
those.
paragraph dedicated to hats in Tooth and Claw. What are you talking about there,
Yeah,
Dr.
I'm not
Richard?
saying I have that. I'm not saying that I have a complaint about that. I'm saying that I didn't notice anything like that. I have no complaints.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, um, I kind of broke the order a bit. I guess the really brief synopsis for people who are listening to our review to decide if they want to read the book for themselves. The book takes place in the future, like 100 years ish, 150. Do they give a year? I can't remember if they gave a
I
year.
don't remember.
They don't
It's
give
in
a
the
year.
The year
it's in the future, but not
20XX.
yeah. It's in the future, but not super disgustingly far away. Um, Earth has gone to shit. Climate change and war have destroyed the planet. The planet's dying, and so to try and keep the human species alive, the humans decide that they need to go colonize the stars.
They also
They have
limit their
some
population to
generation,
1 billion.
yeah. Uh, they have some generation ships that they are building and planning on sending out, and just before they are about to, they end up making contact with an alien species, which in this book are the dragons.
There,
And then most of the book follows along just the dragon interacting with the humans, kind of a culture exchange, kind of just figuring out like what's going on in like the grand scheme of the galaxy and whatnot. And we just get a lot of interactions between the two different species for now.
it is really funny because the way the book, this generation ship is like the ultimate thing in human engineering. They have finally just like, we're gonna go. It's gonna take hundreds of years to get there. You know, they have all these plans. They hire people for the ship, and they're like, you'll never see home again. Say goodbye to your families. Blah blah blah. And everybody's getting ready. I think they're like running tests, and they're about to fire up the engines, and then, bam! A giant fucking ship appears, and it's like, oh, you're doing interstellar travel? That's nice. The dragon has the ability to fold space and time, so literally can teleport at will to anywhere it
it
wants.
it can fold time. It can only fold space.
Or whatever, fold space.
No time travel, just space travel.
I guess I meant in the context of folding time, like it's going to take no time to get there. But whatever.
Yeah, because
Uh,
they're capable of instantaneous transportation, teleporting, I guess you could call it.
yeah.
They are psychic, and
They can
they are
survive
highly
in the vacuum
advanced to
of
where
space.
they can survive in the vacuum of space. Because their biology is very powerful, right?
Biology's
Pristine
broken,
peak.
is what it is.
It is, and then they also are advanced enough that they have an AI companion called Mark, who replicates his AI through all the different spheres. Think like floating lattice spheres, right?
No,
She
think
floats.
Guilty
Does
Spark
she
of
float?
Halo. That's the best
Yeah.
Guilty
comparison.
Spark is better. Guilty Spark is better.
No, guilty. It would be closer to Guilty Spark because GLaDOS is restrained to like even.
Yeah, I
even
couldn't remember if she floats if she's always inside
No,
something.
No, she's always
GLaDOS is
inside.
attached to the arm thing, but Wheatley it has to attach to a crane arm that moves around the facility.
Okay. All right. So like the ghosts from
Like the
Destiny.
Actually,
Okay.
that's probably closer, actually, because like the whole thing with the ghost is that as long as the ghost survives, so do you.
So point is, Mark is a singular AI who has replicated himself throughout all the different spheres, and every dragon has their own sphere, and he's able to manipulate energy to such an extent that he can create whatever he wants. He can do whatever he wants. Basically, take any normal magic system that dragons have in fantasy and put it into an AI because this is a sci-fi book instead.
Like think of every Star Trek episode where they just push a button on a computer and they go, "Computer, give me blah blah blah," and they get it. That's Mark.
He's like, got it. Just give me 10 minutes.
Yeah, except he's got a personality.
Oh, he's got one heck of a personality. But yeah, so that's the brief synopsis. It is very fun. What would you guys say the genre is? I don't mean like it's sci-fi, obviously, but like the genre. Like it's not a horror. I wouldn't even call it action because it's not like fighting or anything. What would you call it genre-wise?
What do you call lewd books?
It wasn't that.
It wasn't that lewd. I would call it a political drama.
You know what? That's good. Political drama is good.
Sorry, I let Dilettante go first, but he dropped the ball. So
Well, I was trying to think of a thing to. It's more of a romance than anything.
There are romance elements, but it is not the main focus of the book. But there are romance elements. I would say it's political drama because the book focuses a lot on these humans interacting with the dragon. In fact, they become the what's the word? It starts with an E. It's not entourage.
emissaries.
I guess emissaries. To between dragons and humans because she just takes a liking to them, and so it's a lot. I would call it a lot of political back and forth.
Oh God,
There,
a lot of politics.
It is a little adult in the sense that they do mention and talk about sex, and some characters do have sex, but I don't remember if it ever goes deep down descriptive, like to where this would become X-rated at all.
Not descriptive. A lot of weird
No.
subjects, though.
Yeah, so they don't ever mention the actual intricacies of the intercourse itself, but they do let you know, hey, they fucking banged.
We'll bang. Okay.
Also, the main character is bi and poly, so poly representation. I love it. I'm so happy. All right, back onto the little spoiler-free bullet points. The book's believability slash verisimilitude slash realism.
0 out of 10 for me.
You don't like it?
I'll dive deep into the spoiler section, but holy shit. I already know one major plot hole that I noticed while reading. The anatomy fucking sucks. I'll also get into that later. There's one part in the epilogue that
Yeah,
actually made me stop and laugh and be like,
yeah.
"What the fuck is going on?"
I don't think it's spoiler to say if it is. Let me know. I'll cut this out. I don't think it's spoiler to say that as far as anatomy goes, the dragons are pansexual and pan-reproductive. They are both genders, but not in a hermaphroditic sense. They kind of can just change their body to do whatever, so they become compatible with any species and any gender out there, and they actually can give offspring. So I think that that's one of the things on the pile of dilettantes. This doesn't make any sense biologically.
Oh no, that's not what I was talking about.
Go
That actually
ahead and
meant
say it, and if
sense.
it's a spoiler, we'll cut it or move it to the end. Or
No, it's very spoilerific if I even try to give a hint of detail about it.
Yeah.
It's
All
got
right.
to be in
Well,
this
we'll
section.
get into it. Just know that dilettante, our resident anatomy stickler, does not like certain aspects of it.
And aspects of the plot.
Darren says there's Swiss Army knives down there.
Yeah, I almost wish the book was okay, like mentioning and describing dicks, because I am really curious what they actually have down there to
Well,
be so pan-reproductive.
you don't. There isn't anything. It's all like imaginary. Don't you remember?
No, because at one point, uh, I
Wait,
keep wanting
no.
to say
They're shapeshifters. They shapeshift in order to do it.
Okay, the shape-shifting is an illusion. They don't actually like magically transform into other species. It's a psychic illusion that gets turned on by them moving some bones around in their legs to stand bipedally.
creepy.
I can feel Dilettante's brain breaking.
Yeah.
That's so dumb. Why
I
not just
liked it.
do it as a dragon? Dude,
The
that is shape. How do you like it? That is shape shifting with extra steps. The whole thing you complain about in most
Okay,
dragon
all right.
romance novels.
Hold on, put a pin in this. I will get into my thoughts on this particular type of shapeshifting in the second half. All right.
All right, I need to hear you. I need to hear this.
The TLDR is this was okay.
It was.
It made me roll my eyes at first, but this was okay once I got the whole picture.
No, that also kind of frustrated me.
All right. So Dilettante 0 out of 10 on his verisimilitude. Bantam, how about you?
On the believability.
Yeah, did that like do you believe does this book seem plausible to you, or are you like this would never happen even if it is, how many degrees of separation do you need before this becomes plausible?
As far as plausibility, I would say actually pretty high. Probably like 8 or 9. I mean, like the dragons in this book are essentially magical. And
It's not magic, it's science.
well, okay, science, whatever. The dragons themselves
There's no
are the ones
science
that
here.
fold. So, but yes, there is. But the fact
No.
that it could kind of explain, because at one point in the book she mentions that she's come to Earth many times before in the distant past, and that could explain why we have fantasies about dragons, or why dragons show up in every culture in their media and stuff we just forgot or whatever. I like that detail. Like, because people are like, oh, is this the first time you visited us? She's like, oh, no, I've been here before.
Yes, apparently dragons also uh, planted the seeds, not literally, but like they cultivated our love of tea because dragons love tea, and when they're like, we're gonna come back in 10,000 years to interact with you, little monkey people, and when we do, you better have some good tea.
And they do.
I just thought that was funny.
She really likes the Japanese tea.
Well, Japanese tea is actually very integrated into their culture.
Mm-hmm.
Like tea time back in Japan is a very big deal.
Well, yeah, they have tea ceremonies.
I will mention or comment that my verisimilitude was pretty rock solid for most of this first book, but there were some aspects in some of the later books that made it start to crumble. I was like, no. But we're obviously not going to get into that now. But just kind of just know that it starts out great, but there are a few holes that become noticeable later on. Next bullet point: the dream fulfillment. Was this book, quote, dragony enough?
Nope.
No.
Dilettante says no.
No.
It coming from the point of view of humans makes it hard to have a real high dream fulfillment score. That's definitely more for the dragon POVs. However, I will say, before you two rant, because you both sound terrible, or like angry, whatever. As far as like the dream fulfillment for me reading this, even though the book was human POV, I enjoyed the way the dragons were portrayed so much and their culture to the point where like this has I would give it a pretty decently high dream fulfillment score. Like this was surprisingly close, and I'll dive into this deeper when we talk about the actual bits and bobs of the culture in the second half. This was pretty close, like almost like creepily so, to my original concept of what a dragon should be when I was like first daydreaming random nonsense in high school. And yes, as Trace Nick says, I just like being a space overlord.
Yep.
Anyway,
I
Bantam, your angst?
I absolutely like it's hard to put into words how much I liked and also fucking hated this book. As I told Ray throughout listening to this book, I had extreme highs and extreme lows. I fucking hate the way the humans are in this book. They are entirely hypocritical, entirely unlikable, um, and I loved the dragons, and I wish the dragons had more of a front and center over the humans. There were a couple points in the book where it focused so goddamn hard on the humans that I tuned out. Like I listened to most of this book while doing other things, but there were a couple times where I could recognize that I was tuning out, so I'd stop doing the other things and just focus on the book, and it hurt my brain. I hated it so much. I don't care about their stupid little problems. I don't care about their stupid little relationships. It's like I wanted to know more about the dragons and how the dragons are handling things. I wanted more interstellar travel and meeting other cultures with, this book was kind of like a choose your own adventure where the author chose all the worst possible paths. And this book could have been fucking amazing with the dragon taking these two humans with her on intergalactic adventures and meeting new cultures and state. Could have been like Star Trek with dragons, but instead it was fucking Frostpunk with dragons. And I fucking hated so much of the human content in this book.
Yeah. I guess it's worth saying that one of the themes of this book is remaining true to your humanity
Ugh.
and what makes you you.
Ugh.
That's a recurring theme through several points, and you can hear that Bantam hates that.
You know what?
While I
You go ahead.
go to 10.
Well, okay, so I will give something to this book's credit about the difficulties of setting up a spacefaring or a space colony with limited travel. It does do that very well. That's probably the only believable part of this book,
No.
though.
It was so fucking easy with the dragon's help, but the humans had to make it more difficult.
Yeah, and we'll get into specifics of that later. They're gonna butt heads over this. Uh,
I don't have any horns, so that's not fair.
I mean, I'll do it on your behalf.
Okay. Ray, fight Dilettante for me.
And then, so I'm there wrestling with the Latin while you're making your arguments. If you ever make an argument I don't agree with, like it's so weak, I'm just like, all right, and I just roll over.
I was picturing more
Bantam
like
loses.
those videos that you see of two street cats fighting with a bunch of crows hopping around them, like encouraging the fight.
Ah, shit, what was I gonna say before I gave the floor to Dilatan?
You were talking about preserving humanity, the spirit of humans, or something.
Oh, right. So while I am like in favor of sacrificing humanity to become something greater, because who wouldn't be, right? While I am usually in favor of that, I can understand the point of view that the human characters that want to deny it are coming from. Like, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get it.
I'm not going to mention the content because it's spoilery, but there was one key issue in this book that bothered me so much that I actually started asking coworkers at work and asking other people, and everybody agreed with the humans in this book on this particular issue, and
And Bantam saying they're like, what? So
it
confused, like, what?
blew
What's wrong with everyone?
it blew my fucking mind. I literally could not understand how people could agree with what the humans did in this book in this situation. I really couldn't. But well, I'll get into that rant later.
Yeah, Dilettante, when I asked you if you got to a certain point, it was because I was going to follow up with, you should go and ask people, you know in real life that you're okay, like admitting you read this book to, for their opinion on it, so we could get like less degenerate opinions.
You know where I live, right?
Dilatan would start asking the question, and they would either tune out or be like, "The fuck you talking about?" and then walk away.
There's only one book down here. It's the Bible.
I don't see no dragons in it.
Did that come up in the book at all? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I didn't hear it mentioned in the
Hyper
Bible.
religious people fighting against the dragons. I don't think so. That could have been a good thing to bring up. Oh well.
There was
Yeah.
one protest going on in the main character's town. I can't remember what it was about.
All you need to know about the type of person I am, without spoiling any part of the book and using real life as an example, is all this talk of aliens and UFOs that's happening in the news right now. It's like I want it to be real so fucking bad, and because I want to see people's brains just implode. I want to see how our society will crumble and be rebuilt based on the knowledge that we're not alone in the universe and we're not special.
Dude, this book took it like a champ, and it kind of made me angry.
Yeah, this book handled it like a fucking champ. Like, okay, first protocols. Holy shit, it's an alien. Let's see what. Let's talk to them. They don't seem aggressive. Like they handled the first contact really, really well. But I know for a fact that humanity in real life won't, and I want that chaos. Like I am a child of chaos. I love chaos, and I want.
He's the angry crow hopping around fighting cats.
I am. I want aliens to show up and be like, "Oh, that's where you are in your technology? Jeez, holy shit! All right, well, fight here. Have all these advancements that will just skyrocket your tech."
Like, I think it'd be funny. It'd be funny as hell if they were like, if we show them our science and our mathematics, they're like, "You forgot about the number between 0 and 1," and we're like, "What?" Or something like that, just something stupid.
I don't necessarily wish ill on people in general, but like I would it would make me happy and amuse me endlessly to have people who dedicated their whole life to a particular trade, like let's say electrical engineering or something, and the aliens are like, "Wait, you've been doing it like that? Hold on, that's dangerous." Here, and then they just undo like someone's entire life work with like one simple little device or little mathematical whatever. They
do it like twice.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about in real life. Like I'm eagerly anticipating that day. I really hope aliens are real and
calm down.
Yes, the number between 0 and 1 is called maybe, and it's the key to making quantum computing work. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I'm gonna make some scientists really angry if they hear this. I'm gonna break Zaina's head.
The best way I can describe it is that it's a very, very popular meme, so a lot of people might get the reference. But there's a 4-panel comic where a guy is at a bar talking to a genie, and by the time the conversation's over, the genie is got his head in his hands, staring at the bar with his eyes wide open and his mouth hanging open in absolute horror. And I want that genie to be humanity, and I want the person in that comic to be aliens.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Adam.
Alright, that's enough of a tangent. Put you back in the box. Alright, so I don't know if I should ask this now at the very, very, very end. No, I'll ask it in a little bit. So first off, Dilatan.
Hi.
The book, X out of 5 stars, and then the universe, would you want to live here?
Book 4 out of 5. Universe, hell no.
You don't want. All right.
This thing's got the dumbest villain I've ever seen in literature.
Not every book needs a villain.
Not saying it needs it. I'm just saying that the one they gave us, dumb as hell.
Bantam.
I'd say 4 out of 5. Yes, I would live here.
I would give it a 4 out of 5 also. And yes, I would live here. Like I said, this is shockingly close to my initial concept of like what a dragon should be. And just space overlord, let's go. I'm gonna go colonize some people.
Space overlord.
Yeah, dragons should be overpowered all the time, always.
Broken as hell.
No weaknesses. Alright. I guess, yeah, we'll put our little musical break in here, and when we come back, we will spoiler fill everything. These two are angry. Unleash them.
And welcome back. The leash is off, the muzzle is off. We're getting into spoilers.
Point front towards enemy.
Point front towards enemy. I have some fucking opinions, but I'm gonna let Dilettante go first, cause he might touch on some of mine. And if I were unleashed to just go and go and go, Dilettante would have nothing to talk about after.
Exactly. So I'm going to first start off with one major plot point, or a plot hole I noticed. So
Mhm.
the whole gimmick is that these dragons are trying to like assimilate species by breeding with them. From what I understood, they come
Yeah.
in, they find a lesser developed species, release their young, and then their young just basically turn everyone into what was it, scale-borns? They called them.
Dragon scales.
Dragon
Yeah,
scales.
dragon scales. For some reason, humanity wanted, well, I mean, for a logical reason, humanity saw these dragons as like viable space engines. You're like, all right, let's get Shumo and the two representatives to just start banging and making babies. And Shumo was completely against this for some reason. The door was wide open to go ahead and start their assimilation program, and she did not want anything to do with it. And I don't understand why.
That was just part of her sinisterness. By pretending she doesn't want it, she forces it to be their idea, and so it's less obvious that she's colonizing.
And also, another thing is for some reason the morality of raising children to be space engines and listen, this is humanity we're talking about. They're going to be treated like a fucking ox and have like the
Mhm.
little muzzle with oats attached to them while they walk.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be treated like shit, and nobody ever brings up how they're going to handle something like this. But the morality of just breeding engines is never brought up at all. It's a
Yeah, that kind.
very big thing to skip over.
I'm pretty sure that bleeds into Bantam's complaint about the humans being hypocrites in this, because they kind of are.
They
It's like,
super are.
give us 50 half dragon children so we can make them work for their entire lives being space engines. But once it comes out that this would happen like on its own naturally, now it's like, oh no, stop, no, don't do it.
And now we got too
There's
many
Like
space engines.
it's only okay when it's our idea and when we can control it.
Yeah, the humans are such fucking hypocrites in this book. I hate it.
And then I want to touch one little thing on the epilogue, and then that'll probably be my list of complaints done. But when the fucking
Only two complaints.
three actually. So Shumo comes, has Richard's egg, brings it like a human dragon scale hatches out, and it has an umbilical cord inside of an egg. Now, do you guys know how like development works inside of an egg?
I do. Yeah.
You don't need no goddamn umbilical cord. You just sit there and absorb the egg juices and then grow and then hatch.
But see, what if there's a placenta inside the egg?
There is placenta inside the egg. It's wrapped around you and it just like it soaks into you. That's how your egg grow. You don't need a goddamn umbilical cord. And that made me laugh, and I just stopped right then and there.
So, Dilettante,
Yes.
I have some really fucking bad news for you.
No.
That's how eggs work. They have literally
Umbilical cord.
They have literally an umbilical cord that spreads throughout the entire egg, and it absorbs it through that.
Okay, but would it be a human style umbilical cord?
I mean, but this is a half human baby.
And
Yeah,
a point.
I was gonna say I had to look it up because I thought he was right, and I was like, yeah, that's weird. And then I was like, what does a baby? I always remembered there being a lot of veins inside of a chicken egg, and I was like, what do those connect to? The umbilical cord. I love you, Dilettante.
Uh-huh.
Just shut down Dillison's main complaint. You're a fool, Dilettante. You consider yourself the anatomy biology dragon?
Well,
Give
okay,
up your
well then,
crown.
yeah, you should not have like the breeding should not work like that. The egg shouldn't work like that. A lot of stuff shouldn't
Uh,
work like that.
but it does because they can breed with anything.
I will consent to the whole breeding with everything thing because there are like insects that use other people as hosts for their young. Like wasps insert their young into bodies of caterpillars so they can be raised, but I don't know if that's the same thing or
Yeah,
not.
considering the dragon gene is super dominant, which is why they're able to colonize reproductively, I guess they would be technically parasites almost.
They're 100% parasites. That's how the whole thing works. All right, but Ray, I want you to defend yourself on the whole. The illusion shifting is not actually shifting. Let's hear that.
So it's quote not actually shifting because they're not actually changing their body. They're rearranging a couple joints, bones, whatever, so that they can't stand on their hind legs, which is whatever Bantam thinks that's creepy because it's like the idea of legs going as they like shift their stance or whatever. But the point is, they're still the dragon. The whole you now look like a really gorgeous whatever the heck to me is just a psionic illusion. They're not actually transforming, and
It's kind of
it's
explained
not
that
shapeshifting.
when the dragon gets really horny, their passive hypnotic field becomes so powerful that you then see what you want to see because the dragon wants you to breed with it. So if they get horny, you suddenly see like a fucking Anthro T-Rex or a Minotaur or something. Like
Dilation
Not
season
oddly
Minotaur.
specific, but okay.
uh but point is that you see the thing that you love the most. And that only happens with the only reason it happens in that particular moment is because the dragon is horny. And the dragon wants you to be horny.
Imagine seeing something you never would have expected, and that's how you discover you're attracted to this one thing.
Ray sees a fucking anthroplane. You got that.
You dork.
Oh, sure, you can cut that out.
Dilettante sees a Minotaur, but it happens to be a big, busty female one. And he's
Nope.
like, wait a second.
Nah, nah, no.
Nah.
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 He's just in
Nah.
denial. That's it.
Do you know what'd be great is if we
Nah.
found out that aliens were real, they come to the planet and they are minotaurs, but they're only female.
I would commit
Amazoness Minotaur.
Sudoku.
Amazon minotaurs. What if they didn't
0
have?
out of 10.
I'll talk more about this later, Dilton, because
Yeah,
I'm curious now. I need to find the line.
Why does it need to be a lie?
I need to find the line. I need to start taking and adding parts to the minotaur until you're like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, there it is. Minotaurs are hot though.
All right, back to the book.
All right, I have one. All right, so one of the main characters, I call him a main character. I mean, he's kind of a secondary character, but his name is Richard. He is a
Oh,
vet.
Richard's such a bitch.
Yeah, I loved his character until one pivotal moment, and then I fucking hated him. He was such a whiny little bitch for the rest of the book. But so Richard, he has cybernetics left over from an attack or an explosion.
Okay, hell, I want to guess. You're mad about him getting rid of the cybernetics.
No.
Among other things.
Among other things. No. So it's described that his cybernetics are not cutting edge. They're basically the best they could do. You know, he's got 2 robotic legs. I think part of his arm, his entire lower jaw, one of his eyes. Like he's fucked up, right? And I assume he kind of looks like the Borg from fucking Star Trek. And he at one point is offered a couple choices, actually. One is they can create all new cybernetics for him that will be indistinguishable from flesh, but they will not need maintenance. They will not need recharging. It'll make him look whole. And they said, or we could just straight up make you whole by cloning the new body parts from your own DNA and reattaching them. You'll be 100% whole again. And his response is, no, never, no. There goes my humanity. And it's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
To be
You'd rather.
fair, that was also happening while they were trying to like figure out what the fuck's going on and whether they love
I
this
don't.
Yeah.
alien
I don't
dragon
care.
situation.
Bantam, you're looking at this decision in a vacuum, and when you attach it to all the other decisions that have been made, it makes a lot more sense.
Okay, then back to then a little bit further back into the core issue. The amount of humans when they find out, so the dragons have this passive hypnotic influence where the more time you spend around them, the more you love them, like unconditionally love them, whatever. But you're still capable of decision making. Like the dragon even demonstrates, like, hey, go assassinate this guy, and they're like, no. He's like, see, I can't control you. And it's like I understand that that's kind of like a gray area, but the thing is that you're not forced to do whatever the dragon says. You just love the dragon, and the amount of humans who are like, my humanity, my free will, I'd rather be fucking miserable on a planet that's dying and die of starvation or climate change or whatever than be happy in the stars with my dragon wife. All right, the, no, anybody who makes that decision is fucking dumb. I'd rather go back to my planet where, and that's the other thing. The dragon. They allow the dragon to fix Earth. They recreate some polar ice caps. They recede the water
Allow is
level.
a strong word. It kind of just happened.
No, because they beg it like, oh, can you do something about these storms? And the dragon's like, yeah, I'll put Mark on it right away, and Mark fixes it. The storms stop. The water level recedes to the point where now they have they create machines that reclaim the salt so that the fucking ground is usable for cultivation. Like there's so many things that the humans allowed the dragons to take away autonomy from the humans, but then every once in a while the humans are like, no, that's too far. I hate being constantly happy and in bliss, and like the fact that the main character is young, she gets a bathtub or a swimming pool in her private room on the dragon ship, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is more water than like 10 people would ever need in a year, and it's all for me." And they're like, "Yeah." And to have the greatest of joys and luxuries in your life handed to you, and then be like, "No, I'd rather suffer on Earth." Because I'm blissfully happy when I'm around you. I can't stand that. I because it's not my choice. Therefore, I'd rather go back to Earth with a bunch of fucking scheming, conniving goddamn humans and fucking war and plague and famine and whatever. I'd rather suffer than be happy. It's
You're
so
just a traitor to
fucking.
your own race.
Yes. Yes.
Exactly. That's why this argument kind of falls flat when you're putting it into the position of a soldier
It's not an
who has
argument.
been trained for years to be loyal to their nation above all else,
That's
who are ready
brainwashing
to
of
die at an order.
that's brainwashing of its own kind. How is that okay? How is the military brainwashing you okay, but being
I'm not
around a
saying it's okay.
dragon?
I'm just trying to give a perspective
I
here.
I think they would say that it's okay because it's not quite indoctrination in the sense that I'm assuming these people were not drafted. They made the conscious choice to sign up for it, meaning they already gave their consent. Whereas the passive psychic brainwashing that Shumo does is without their consent, and she can't control, she can't turn it off, allegedly.
Allegedly. And then there's the whole breeding program where Jiang signed up to forcibly have babies put in her for the generation ship, and then when the dragon shows up, it's suddenly a problem. And it's like, fucking, ugh, ugh.
You know what you were getting with a human baby. You don't know what's going to happen when a dragon's inside of you. I'm kind of on her side on that one. Could be a fucking chess poster for all she knew.
But yeah,
They had aliens. They had the movie.
at work, I asked my two coworkers over in the other department that we work at. I was like, okay, and basically the way I worded it was, imagine there's an alien where when you're around it, you're perfectly blissful and happy all the time. Would that and then you when you were separated from them, you were sad that you missed them or whatever.
Some withdrawals.
Some withdrawals. Would you be okay with being around that alien? And they were both like, no, no.
Yeah, and then we asked Tanith, like, hey, there's an alien with the passive psychic aura that kind of makes you happy and content and whatnot. And, like, stop this right there. Didn't get a finish. Just like, kill it. It must die.
Yeah, and I just don't understand.
That's how Tanith plays
It's like
Stellaris.
Yeah, Bantam, to normal people, the concept of free will is very important, and they're not willing to give that up.
Dude, fuck my free will. I get to live in perfect bliss and harmony. Fuck yeah. Sign me up. And whenever I'm horny, she just turns into whatever the fuck I want. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, but see, you're not normal.
Yeah, I the thing is that yeah, for context, I'm the person who the moment I find out they can scoop my brain out and put it in a robot body of my choosing, I do that. The moment I find out that cool cybernetics like from Cyberpunk 2077 are commercially viable, yep, doing that. I don't even care if my body parts still work. Replace them.
Yeah,
Uh,
Bantam, I'm gonna have to side with the normies on this one. You
yeah,
gotta
well,
gotta dial it back some, man.
nope.
Yeah,
Give
his
it,
uh,
give
his
it, give it 10 more years of cybernetic advancements still 10. You're gonna be dating a fucking android.
Oh
yeah. I
God.
don't remember what it's called in Shadowrun, but his essence score is gonna hit 0, and we gotta put a stop to this thing.
I'm gonna go cyber psycho.
But yeah, as far as the humans wanting like not wanting so much help, I'm assuming like your biggest complaint there is the when they're starting the colony and Mark's like, I could just build this off for you, and they're like, no, we got to do it ourselves, and so they start running the timeout. They almost fail. They got to go like back on the ship to like refill air tanks and whatnot, right?
No, I'm with the humans on this one. You can't ask a temporary emissary to build colonies for you and hope everything just works out. You gotta be self-sufficient, so when they leave, you can continue on.
Yeah, we got to. If we can't do this ourselves, there's no point doing it.
Exactly. So, score one for the humans.
Yeah. Also, humans in general, they need a sense of accomplishment. They can't just have everything handed to them. They gotta feel like they did it themselves or they earned it. Spoilers for The Good Place. That's why in the end of the TV show, The Good Place, when they get to The Good Place, everyone there is so like brain dead, so unenthused, and there's no point in living or doing anything because it's just paradise forever, perpetually. Like there's no struggle, there's no strife, and so they become borderline comatose because there's no point to anything.
You gotta
Once
have the
they
struggle to make the good times feel good.
Yeah, once you like when you first get there, you have fun because you've struggled through mortal life and you've earned this, and you just have fun and enjoy it. But then you eventually become brain dead. Only after they introduce the concept of this archway, where at your choice you choose when, but whenever you feel like you're ready, you can walk through the archway and you will just literally cease to exist. Everybody snaps out of it. They start having fun again because they're enjoy what time you have because you will eventually choose to go through and cease to be. And so there's now with like it's not a goal per se, but it it
There's an
kind of
end
helps
point.
the good stuff. It highlights the good stuff to it. It feels like there's a point to it now. And it's like the argument I use with video games in general. Also, is like Bantam just wants to sit there and cheat like infinite health, infinite ammo, infinite damage, and just go wipe the floor with everything. And I'm like, no, that's stupid. That's pointless. That destroys the whole point and integrity of the game. You
Here's
have to struggle through the fight so that you feel like you earned the victory at the end.
here's the thing. Here's the thing, and Ray will never understand me on this point. Yes, I cheat at a lot of single player games because I want to experience the story. I don't want to struggle. And I actually there have been games where I only enjoyed it because I cheated. Because otherwise I get so frustrated I just don't play the game anymore. And there are a lot of things that I imagine that in real life, even, that I would not do because I would struggle at it. And to me, and maybe it's just the broken brain that I have, but there are a lot of situations where if the final reward was handed to me, I'd be happier than if I struggled to get it. I don't feel that accomplishment. There have been times where Ray and I have played Dark Souls together, and we'll finally beat this really tough boss, and Ray will be like, "Woo, we did it!" And I'll be like, "Finally." And like I don't feel that I don't feel that sense of pride and accomplishment in having overcome an obstacle. I don't. I just want to get past it. I don't like to struggle. So when I play single player games, I cheat because I want to experience the story, and I do like the God complex. I've never ever cheated at a game, gotten to the end credits and been like, well, that was a hollow experience. Never.
No,
I've
it's happened to me many times. Like Minecraft is the best example I have from my own memory, where I'm playing Minecraft, I'm having fun, I'm doing my thing, it's great. Fell in lava and lost all my stuff, all my like my diamond gear, uh, whatever. I had a lot of really important stuff on me. I fell in lava and died, and I think the same thing happened to me at some point in Ark. So I'm like, like hours or days lost, and I'm like, no. And so I turn on my console mode and I just give myself back the stuff that I lost, right? And the second I did that, some floodgate was open. Now that I've done that, well, surely I can give myself this to just save on this 3 hours of grinding. Like, why not give myself, to use Minecraft again, why not give myself more diamonds? I need more diamonds, and I just don't want to have to go and try to strip mine, so I'm trying to find this. I'm just going to save myself this hour and a half and just give it to me. And
Self
then
control? Question mark.
the problem is once the floodgates open, it's really hard to close. And once you start doing that, the entire game falls apart. There's no point to playing. My fun is immediately destroyed the second I give myself anything, even if it's to recover from a fumble. And so I can't.
Well, see, that's why you got to practice with the floodgates. You gotta learn to open them so you learn
Open
how
to
to
get a
close
little.
them.
The,
No, I'd rather just never open them.
this is probably going to make
Then
Ray
your
a little
dam's gonna
upset.
burst.
This is probably going to make Ray a little upset, but it is something that's happened before. He already knows about it, so maybe just this is just reopening an old wound. But going back to Ark, we did have a server that we paid for where the server was always perpetually running. And we both agreed to have our own bases on opposite sides of the map, like just for fun. Because I don't like it when people mess with my designs. He doesn't like it when people mess with his designs. And I found a cave and I built a giant wall and turned the cave itself into my home. Built houses in there, stored dinos, whatever. And there was one time where he was sleeping and I don't remember if I just guessed it or figured out the server password and started giving myself unlimited resources so I could build my base because I did not want to spend the next 8 hours fucking farming materials. And I built my base and I kept going and kept going and I was actually having more fun because I was like now I can do what I want without being restricted by struggle or possibly losing one of my favorite dinosaurs or something. And I built my base and I was really proud of it and I was really happy with it. And then there was one day where Ray needed something and he came by my base and he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Oh, I just spent a lot of time building it." I mean, like I'm pretty sure you knew that at that point I had cheated, but yeah, I have more fun that
Yeah,
way.
that's safe file immediately died.
Yeah, I have more fun that way. I
That
don't.
robs my fun. Okay, so again, going back to Minecraft, uh, 15 years ago or whenever, version like 1.05 was like pretty early on in its lifespan, right? I was playing Minecraft and I decided I'm gonna build a castle. I want to build a castle. So I didn't turn on creative mode. I honestly didn't know creative mode was a thing at the time. So I actually found basically quarries, mined all the stone to manually build the castle without being able to fly or anything. I had wood that I'd use for scaffolding to get up to where it needs to go and put the stone down. I built a castle by hand without cheating or creative mode or anything. And that took several weeks, but oh, feels so much better than just going like there, everything, have it. This isn't to like hate on anybody that does do creative mode builds because usually that allows you to do like really fancy stuff. But like for me, the personal accomplishment of building a castle legitly just feels better.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess depending on the mentality that you have, whether you're on my side or which is statistically improbable,
The thing is, like
or
what you did with Arc, with giving yourself the resources to build it, would make sense to me if you were doing it to be artistic. If you just wanted to build this to just say, like, here's a fancy fort I built deep in the mountain. I built fucking Minas Tirith or whatever the heck. Not Minas Tirith. That's not in the mountain.
actually
Fucking
it's part of the mountain.
Moria.
But
Well,
Mines
yeah,
of
but like
Moria.
inside the mountain, Moria. Like I built freaking Moria. Look at this. It's beautiful. If you did it to be artistic, then that's great. But the fact that you were building that to be the base from which the gameplay would ensue, because we were going to try to find all the artifacts and actually beat the game, that suddenly invalidated everything for me because you cheated to get it. It was you cheated to get a leg up, and it made everything not worth it anymore.
I just like going back to the book. It's like I understand that there's going to be very few people who are on my side on this, but it's like as human in if I could speak for all mankind in this book, it's like yes, do what the dragons want. Like so, I know we're in the spoiler section, but this is like a double spoiler. But
Ooh.
the whole thing with the dragons is that the way they conquer worlds, the way they invade, is they breed with the local population, and the dragon gene is dominant. And so your children will be mostly dragon and have the ability to fold and be welcomed into the empire and all that crap. But the idea
No,
is,
the half dragons don't get the ability to fold.
I thought that was the right, because then the half dragons can breed with each other and create full dragons, right?
No. They would still make half dragons. The half dragons need to breed with another dragon to create dragons.
Oh well, all right. Point is that breeding and pushing the species out into extinction through breeding is how they conquer. So it's entirely passive, entirely like sexual, whatever. But the humans are like, oh my god, we're being invaded, and it's like, no one is getting shot and killed. You're gonna live a healthy, happy life, free from disease and problems. And it's like, I'll never understand the human mentality of, but what about the future of our kind? Like the amount of times in this book and in other books, humans fight, they kill, they steal, they rape, they fucking blow each other up. But then when another force comes out, and they're suddenly like, no, humanity, our brothers, our sisters, no, we must fight back. And it's like, why? You were just shooting each other in the goddamn face 10 minutes ago. Why is it now that there's an external threat, you suddenly decide, oh, we should all be friends and we should fight back? Like, humans are selfish, awful fucking people in most of these books. And then all of a sudden an alien shows up that's going to fix all your problems, and you have a big issue with that. Why? Like, why are humans so in everything? Why are they always like, we hate each other and we're going to beat the crap out of each other for as long as we live? But as soon as an external threat shows up, we're all going to be best friends, shake hands, and turn toward this new threat. And that's so fucking hypocritical of humankind, and I hate it.
Humanity numero uno. Woo!
But yeah, it's like Jung admitted to Shumo that, like, yeah, there's been lots of wars over resources. Resources are stretched thin, whatever. Even when the dragon shows up, and she's talking with the delegates from different countries, because the whole catalyst for this book is that there was a nearly successful colony on a distant planet by the country of Japan, and the colony failed, and so Shumo rescued what was left of that colony and brought it back to Earth. And so when she's talking to the delegates, Japan wants that planet that they originally were going to colonize. But China wants it more. And we have more people, so we should get it first. And she's like, no. And so China gets pissed. And then South America wants a different planet, and they want it so bad that they need a confirmation immediately before Africa takes it. And it's like, so countries are still fucking fighting each other. There's still no brotherhood or unity. They're still constantly fighting. But when they find out that, oh, the dragons are breeding with us and creating hybrids, and that's their plan, they're trying to take over our planet, we have to fight back. And it's like, why? You guys were doing a really good job fighting each other.
I mean, I do want to point out they're the country of South America and the country of Africa.
Continent, whatever.
No, they've consolidated into very large countries by this point.
I mean, cool.
And those are like the most war-torn places. So that's the progress.
But
yeah, it's like when the Earth went to shit, humans were willing to band together. Most of the small countries that made up these large continents all kind of became one larger entity. It's like, we can work together as long as there's someone else to fight against.
Yeah, and that will always frustrate me, because
And that's just the way humans are.
But
that's why everyone says, like, the only way to achieve world peace is to have an alien invade us.
And then once the alien's gone, we're gonna go back to fighting each other. Like, that's why I'll never sympathize with the humans in any of these books, because humans are flawed, horrible creatures that are constantly fighting each other over the dumbest shit. Like, I understand that Ray wants me to scale back my misanthropy, but I can't sometimes. Like, this book just reminds me of just how shitty humans are. Yeah, you can cut that if you want.
Hot takes with Bantam.
It's not a hot take, it's the truth.
It's hot takes with Bantam. As far as the whole reproductive colonization goes, it's like, on the one hand, I don't see too much of a problem with it because, if it happened naturally, it'd be okay. If humans joined a galactic civilization, a la like Mass Effect or Star Trek, big federation, the Citadel, the whatever, right? Whatever it's called in this particular sci-fi universe. And they just go, and over the course of 10,000 years, they are spreading themselves out amongst all these other races and planets, and they're intermingling. And it just turns out that as, cross racial, cross species, that's better, uh, pairings develop, that the children end up being the other species. It turns out humanity is a recessive gene or something. Like, let's just pretend, okay? And so after 10,000 years, however many, like, thousand some odd generations that is, humans don't exist anymore. They've been bred out, but it happened on its own passively. Not a big deal because that's basically evolution. It happens. I'm sorry, it happens. Which is why when you find out that the dragons want to do that to the humans, I'm torn between. Well, that doesn't seem that big of a deal. It's not like they're going to kill the ones that keep existing. They get to live 4 happy lives, right? It's just the future. Like, you get to be happy and live long, and you get a mark who can fabricate anything and whatever, right? But it's just your kids will be half dragons, and then your great grandkids will be dragons. Like, not a big deal because you're fine, right? However, I also do acknowledge the fact that because the Dragon Empire wants to do this on purpose and they're doing it maliciously, because of the intention, it suddenly makes it, you know, not okay. Like, I can see that. To use real life example, if the panda bear or the koala just die out on their own because turns out they're built poorly, that sucks, but oh well, happens, right? But then if they die out because humans fucked up their ecosystem, killed off their food source, gave them disease, introduced predators, something, right? Something that humans did, then it's suddenly bad and it's tragic, and how dare you? Like,
Well,
I can
like
see both sides of it.
it's like I know that in real life, apparently there's scientists working on restoring dodo birds. Like they found viable DNA, and they're gonna start trying to synthesize fucking dodo birds because they feel bad about it driving them to extinction forever ago. But people are like, yeah, and the world moved on. Like if you bring them back,
There's
it's
no place for them. I'm
there's
sorry.
no place for them.
They
Like
could be tastier than chicken. You don't know that. Bring them
that
back.
is that is
It's
true.
why, like, Dilatan as a Floridian, it's like, me personally, the super snakes being bred in the Everglades, part of me is like, who cares if they kill all the indigenous species there? Whatever, evolution. The snakes win. They just were built different, you know. But I can also understand that that's only a problem because humans made the mistake of accidentally releasing
They
pet
did
snakes, and like that would
no.
And
never
then the
happen
alligators will
naturally.
lose.
It wasn't people releasing pet snakes. The actual catalyst that started it. I mean, yes, people releasing pet snakes is a problem, but most of those snakes die because they're not used to hunting. But the actual catalyst was a hurricane hit a reptile facility, and it destroyed it and flung snakes all over the place, and a lot of them survived. And then they started to, you know, ravage the
Yeah,
countryside.
the point is, it was through some, it's what's the word, malfeasance of human interloping.
Yeah, keeping a species that doesn't belong in that state in a facility, it's like that is the human malfeasance. The hurricane was a catalyst, but the hurricane wouldn't have spread snakes all over the state if it weren't for the fact that humans kept them all in one little place.
Yeah.
Florida building code strikes again.
Yeah, I mean, it's like unfortunate. Like, I understand why it's a bad thing because it only ever happened because humans interfered in a way they shouldn't have, accidents, whatever, right? At the same time, don't you dare tell me I can't have this particular animal as a pet where I live because I'm gonna have it anyway. Who cares, right? Like when I figured out when I learned that red foxes are illegal to be kept as pets where I live because if they escape, they'll wreak havoc upon other things. It's like, oh well, too bad. Guess you should never let it escape. Um, but that's just me being selfish. I understand.
I mean,
Uh,
that
but
kind of
like,
happened here.
do you know what year Hurricane Snake hit?
No.
No, because like I feel like, and this could just me be with like bad opinion Ray over here, but I'm like, sorry, it's too late. It's past. It's like these people that are going out for like big grand snake hunts in the Everglades because we got to call the
They're
population,
not
or
even.
whatever.
They're tagging and releasing them
I
for
don't know.
some
Maybe
reason.
I don't know. Maybe my information is outdated, but like I heard at some point that's like if you go and you can find one of these snakes and kill it and bring it back, we'll skin it and whatever, and we'll pay you a bounty. Like they wanted to try their best to like wipe them out because they don't belong here. And I'm saying that like initially, yes, they didn't belong there. It was a problem of humans interfering that caused this to happen. But I think at this point they've earned their stay. If other stuff dies out, oh well, circle of life. Just accept them as part of the environment now.
It's like, yeah, I actually agree with that. It's like there are a couple things with specifically wild animals, like when, like let's say a fucking tiger kills and eats somebody, and then they have to summon the militia, and they have to go hunt this one tiger down because now it's got a taste for human flesh and it needs to be killed. And it's like, or stop being stupid and stop going out into the jungles. And
That's barely related at all.
I think it's related.
That's just you looking for an excuse to be like dumb humans. Psh.
Well, no, it's just like, I don't know, maybe not.
Dilatan, do you want to get reproductively colonized?
Not really. I
What the
mean,
fuck?
it's listen. So it's like death by snoo snoo. It sounds great on paper, but it's gonna suck.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not death by So let's use minotaurs for example. The absolute
Let's.
pinnacle, perfect minotaur
Hey,
ever to.
listeners, if you haven't figured it out by now, Dilatan likes minotaurs.
I mean, so do I. But like the perfect alien species, the thing that would just rock your world all day, every day. It shows up and it wants to have a kid with you, whether it's male, it doesn't matter. It's just like the dragons, it can just make a child. And then that child runs off and goes to live its life. And it's like, you're going to live, because I believe they mentioned at one point the dragons also created like the ability for humans to live a little bit longer. So like,
They increased their lifespan by I think 50% or something
yeah,
at
so
the
like they
time
could
during the events of this book.
they could live to like 150 years perfectly fine or whatever
Yeah, and I think Mark says he can make him live longer, but
if
I
they
think
wanted. Yeah.
the humans are like iffy on that right now because they don't know how much they want the aliens to interfere.
Yeah. So let's say let's just throw 250 out there. You can live 250 years in perfect bliss with the perfect mate. And then but you're going to die. But here's the thing. You're going to live a long happy life. You don't know about the future generations. I'll never understand the mentality of, but what about future humans? It's like you don't know them. They don't.
Bantam's the kind of person who would never plant the tree that whose shade he cannot enjoy himself.
No, because there's plenty of shade elsewhere. You just go find a large hill and you can sit
That's
on the other
some
side of it.
boomer mentality, you
That it,
know.
what, me or him?
You.
You.
I don't care. I don't care.
I noticed. Now I'm going to answer this question in the perspective of these humans who have been struggling for hundreds of years on a dying planet that have just found a way to survive, but it's the only option is to basically all the progress they made, all the struggles they have done is moot. They're handed a cheat. It's
And,
so
and yeah, that's their two choices. They have two doors to walk through. Let the dragons fix all of our problems so we can live, or reject them and die in misery. And it's like I don't ever see a situation where I would choose death in pain, misery, and struggle over an alien species that loves us, that wants us to see us.
The thing is, you're looking at this very narrow-mindedly. You're thinking of this only for yourself. You're thinking about you and only you. All right, the humans are not turning away the dragon's help because they don't want to be helped. They're not like, I would rather suffer and die than that you help me. They're not that arrogant in this particular book. They're turning away the dragon's help because they are more concerned with the future generations. They're caring more about their progeny. They don't want the dragons to interfere too much because they want their their children, their grandchildren, and so on, to not be dependent on them to be able to take care of themselves. Like Dilettante said earlier, if you have the aliens build your colony for you and then they have to go away to go do whatever the fuck, because I mean, they've already explained by this point that there's so few dragons that in order to take care of all the other species that they've adopted, let's say, that they're gonna have to go back and forth. After all, Shumo hasn't seen any of her spouses in so long, right? She's overdue for a visit. So they don't. So if the alien builds the colony for you and then is gone, and something goes wrong, you can't fix it. It's the domestication. Like you have a pet dog, it can no longer survive in the wild, right? They don't want their future children to become dependent on dragons. They want the humans to be able to remain self-sufficient, take care of themselves, and remain human. You, I know, don't care about any of that because you don't like kids, you don't ever want to have any, and you don't like the concept of what you call big air quotes, breeders. You don't like them, and that is your fault, and that is your personal opinion. And so that's why you keep seeing this, like, these humans are stupid. Why won't they just do this? It's like, well, they're thinking of the bigger picture. You're thinking of just you. This is a situation where you would go with Shumo, be her little sex slave on her ship, and then enjoy the universe, and humanity can continue doing their thing. It's
Yeah.
fine.
The
Yeah.
whole plot of this whole book is generational issues. They're trying to set up a better world, a better galactic society for humanity as a species.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I
go back to the very beginning with the generational ships. I asked you, would you want to go on this generational ship? And you said yes, not because you want to keep humanity alive. You said yes because Earth sucks and I don't want to be here. You would
yes.
do it for completely selfish reasons.
Yes.
And that's why you won't get on the ship.
Well, I would hide it really well. The thing is I think it would have been an infinitely better book. Like, all right. Ignoring all of my prejudices and all of my personal opinions, whatever, I think this would have been an infinitely better book if when Shumo shows up and introduces herself to humans or whatever, Shumo is like, here's some technology to fix your planet. You poor dears, whatever. Where I'm gonna take Jiang and Richard and I'm gonna go explore the stars and show them the universe. And the humans are like, all right, have fun. And then the rest of the book is essentially just like a space adventure with love and this poly relationship. And they get to meet new and interesting species. And then, because we haven't mentioned it at all in this, we haven't talked about the cats. The cats are essentially the big bad in the universe because everything like Star Trek needs to have like, the Borg or some big evil. And there's an empire of cats that are just murderous and selfish and they kill and steal and rob or whatever.
As someone who dislikes cats, I love this rendition of them.
Dude,
This
this
is
author
amazing.
really hates cats.
Ah, I love it. It's so good.
I love cats and they even made me hate these cats. But they could be I mean, just like in the normal book, they could be the big bad. You're trying to go to different planets and save different species while also fighting with the cats. And
What?
the dragons solution to fighting the cats is to just not do anything. Like, oh no, if we fight back against the cats, they'll retaliate even worse. And the humans are like, just shoot them. Like, let go to war, wipe them out. And the dragons are like, but and it's like,
The problem is that the dragon's are also extremely pacifistic. It's hard coded into the gene and they can't help it.
Yeah.
Which is why they need the humans to do the fighting for them.
Yeah. So it's like,
Congratulations, warrior species unlocked.
Yeah, the humans find all sorts of unique and interesting ways to non-lethally kill the cat, or non-lethally deal with the cats. They make capsaicin bombs, and all sorts of other stuff. But a better book for me that would have been far more enjoyable is literally Star Trek, but with a dragon, two humans, and dealing with the troubles of the cat empire. Ruining things across the galaxy while they try to save planets, meet new interesting species, go back to
Good news, everyone. That's kind of what book 2 is.
Yeah.
And it sounds boring on paper. That's more fit for a TV show than an actual book. And two, it's also unrealistic when you're doing that at the start.
Yeah, that cannot be the start. This book is all set up, which is why that exploring space happens a bit in book 2. It's not the entirety of book 2. It's kind of like the filler of book 2, because the stage is set. Now you can do it.
Yeah. Plus humanity would not just like, okay, you can go. This very powerful dragon that just helped us. We won't keep you for our own selfish reasons.
What rights do humanity have to tell these two humans, no, you're not allowed to go?
They are technically owned by the state because they are soldiers.
Exactly.
I know.
Technically, they
then I
committed
quit.
treason by going back up to the ship.
You can't just quit the military.
It's called going AWOL. And if the dragon folds you off planet far, far away, what are they gonna do? At any rate, I just there were two other points in this book that bored me to fucking tears, where she was dealing with her other poly relationship back on Earth. I didn't care for those characters at all, and the other part, the part that I almost started skipping around. I almost did. I kept like reaching for the scroll bar, and it was the part where crap, I just had it in my head. Oh, right. Where they were on one of the colonies and they were dealing with like, oh, how are the crops doing? And oh, it's building this and that. It's like I don't care. It was like 2 whole chapters of a colony existing.
I mean,
And
that
then
that was the whole reason for this story to begin with,
no,
is setting up a colony.
yeah, and then yeah, that was the book started with we want to set up a colony, but then the dragons showed up. That part got wiped away because now there's something way bigger. But like they spent way too much time on the colony before the cat showed up and then advanced the plot some more. It's the same thing like I talked about with The Walking Dead. It's like the setting up the colony is the characters in the middle of the forest arguing, and then a cat shows up, or in Walking Dead a zombie shows up to force to the next scene, to something more interesting than 2 characters yelling in the middle of the forest.
The thing is, we had to tie a little bow on the whole colony arc because, like Dylan said, that was the whole point. That was the goal from the beginning, and this is why we have to show it. We have If we never touch on it again, then it's going to just feel like an abandoned plot thread.
I guess. I'm not saying I'm not saying it shouldn't be in the book. It's just it was incredibly boring to me, and I kept like looking up at the scroll bar on the whole thing and going, I wonder how much longer this goes. I wonder if I could skip to here.
I thought it was fine, mostly because they did have a bit of little drama issues, like when it was the colony part of this book where Jiang finds out that she's been mentally altered by Mark.
That was actually a pretty cool twist. I like that.
That was another thing that like kind of annoyed me is when she found out that Mark altered her to literally no detriment.
She's a
That
superhuman
you
now.
know of.
She can survive on less oxygen because so she's not suffocating when these other people are. She doesn't need to be breather. Apparently she was made smarter. Her memory was made perfect and whatnot. But
And she wants it taken away.
The point is, Mark did it without permission. There was no consent given.
And then which also opens the door to Unfortunate. It's like, all right, what else did you do to me?
Yeah, exactly. Also,
You're too naive.
By this point, they're already fighting against the whole concept of Shumo's is quote accidentally hypnotizing us, and they're trying to be all remain true to themselves. They don't want to have any influences on them. This is why Richard wanted to decline the super cybernetics or the cloned body parts, because he doesn't trust them to not affect him, which is why when she finds out that Mark did mess with her head without permission, that is such a big red flag.
Dilatan gets home from work and he feels something in his back pocket and he reaches in there and it's an envelope with $100,000 in cash. And he's like, whoa! And then a week later, someone's like, oh yeah, I slipped that in your pocket. I figured you could have used it. And Dilatan,
Man, I'd be scared as shit if I just found an envelope with $100,000 in my back pocket. I feel like the mafia marked me or something.
No, the thing is, it's not in your pocket. It's sitting on your pillow when you wake up.
Okay. Sweet.
So then someone broke into my house to leave $100,000 suspiciously on my bed. No,
I don't care. I don't care. I would love it. I'd be so happy.
You fall into the trap then, Bandit, because if you spend that money, then the people who gave it to me, all right, pay back.
Nope. Now you're owned because you spent the money they gave you. That means you accepted it. That means you now belong to them.
Shit.
Hilariously, what I would actually do in that situation is hide it and wait a really fucking long time, and then I would use it to go somewhere and hide. Like I've had dreams where I've had like a large sum of money that I just discovered, and the first thing I do is hide it.
This is not relevant because this is taking your analogy too literal, so it's no longer reminiscent of the topic we're trying to discuss.
Yeah, okay.
It's like you can't take the superpowers Mark gave you and go hide. Like you can't literally do that.
Because would you leave Mark like fucking disables him or something?
Point is that if I found out that Mark altered my DNA and fixed a lot of things and made me a superhuman, I'd be like, sweet. Thanks.
The point you're missing is that a very suspicious alien somehow altered your body, and you don't know what they altered. Mm-hmm. You could be sterile for all you know. Because that doesn't apply to you. Exactly, I know. Your
Whoa!
dick could fall off.
It's okay.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
There's so much wrong with him.
Oh God.
Uh, I guess let's try to rapid fire through a couple of the things I want to bring up for opinions because we're going a little not long yet, but we're getting there. Dilatan,
Hi.
potatoes.
They're not that good. I mean, I enjoy a French fry every now and then, but why are they aphrodisiacs?
They're not aphrodisiacs. I
Yeah,
think
they phrase them to where if you eat this potato, it's like an orgasm in your mouth.
The
right, but
cats.
that doesn't mean it's an aphrodisiac. That just means that it tastes so good. It's so amazing. With the idea being humans have such weak senses that they can't pick up the amazing, intricate details of the flavor of the potato.
I
I
mean, I
do.
can believe that. I can't smell anything at all the time because of fucking
Hmm.
pollen and Florida fucking molested me and my sinuses. So I can
Yeah,
believe we're probably missing some stuff as a species from how shitty our
yeah,
senses are.
right. But it feels weird that it's the potatoes. It also feels weird that they can't be replicated and that they can't be grown anywhere else. Like, nope. Turns out Earth is now the potato planet.
Yeah.
Make sure keep Earth alive.
It is. It
Yeah.
is interesting that Earth has two things that the aliens deeply desire and can't be replicated anywhere else:
Yeah, yeah,
opals and potatoes.
yeah. One of my plot holes that I have with it is like I don't believe that Mark would not be able to synthesize it. Now, sure, you could probably get into the whole argument of well, organic is better than whatever the fuck. So like an actual earth grown potato will be better than a Mark synthesized one. Like maybe. I don't know how powerful his synthesizing is, but I'll give that a maybe. But the point is,
Synthesizing in all sci-fi media, anytime they use a synthesizer, it is never 100% authentic to the original.
right,
Like
but that
Star
doesn't
Trek
make
does it
sense.
all the time.
If you're able to see something at the molecular level, like I can see its molecular structure is built this way, and I can replicate it. You should be able to actually make it just taste the same. You have its molecules exactly the same way.
But you don't have the outside elements.
It's I don't know. It's weird. It's nuantic, but the point is that while I can understand the concept that in what 3 or 4 galaxies, Earth is the only one that has the potato because the sheer random dumb luck it takes for life to develop in certain ways. Turns out everything is perfect. Earth has potatoes. That's fine. I can believe that. I cannot believe that in 4 other galaxies there is no other Earth-like planet suitable enough to where you could start growing the potatoes on that planet. There's no reason it should stay Earth-centric. Like that feels like a weird stretch to me.
No,
Yeah, and
that I can believe. Evolution works very weirdly. I won't get too deep into it, but essentially, like it all boils down to luck, and our planet just got lucky. I mean, that's how everything fucking works here. It's
I
all
mean,
biological luck.
we talked about this in the car, but it's also hard to believe that in an entire galaxy of planets that opals are only ever on Earth.
Okay, that's weird because that's more of a mineral thing, and that's more common than
Yeah,
biology.
whatever. It was just a weird thing. What do you guys think about the soul gems?
I like the concept.
I was actually planning on doing something like that for a D&D game.
Yeah,
I,
that's some. So when I say that this Dragon Society is very similar to what I daydreamed of back in high school, it's mostly revolves around the soul gem, and more recently when I became a sex crazed fiend, uh, the pan reproductiveness. Oftentimes in random nonsense for my OC, I'm always like, oh yeah, he can breed with anything. He can just it doesn't matter. He's biologically male, but he can lay his own eggs if he ends up breeding with another male. Like it's just a really random nuance I threw out there. Whatever. Ray is pan reproductive. That's kind of funny that matched up. But the soul gem thing was a concept that I came up with way back in high school when I was first creating characters and writing stories. And it mostly started because when I read a book, I like to self-insert myself, not as the main character, but as like a random side character. Like if there was a Dragonheart book with Draco and
Also, oddly
Bayan,
specific, but okay, go ahead.
What's his name?
you talk about
Bowen.
the guy from Bowen.
Bowen. Okay, so with like Draco and Bowen, like I would self-insert myself as like Bowen Squire. I'm just there randomly on the side. I don't do anything important. I'm just kind of there. I want to be self-inserted in a place where I can like imagine that I'm watching this, like if it was a TV show, but I'm there on the set, kind of deal, right? And one weird thing I'd always do would be like when Draco dies. Spoiler: Draco dies, by the way. Uh, when Draco dies, rather than him, dying and being dead, I'm there to either like quote save him or quote harvest him, depending how you want to look at it. Because Draco it's important Draco dies for the story, but I have like an Oblivion style soul gem or whatever, I can take his soul and bring it back to, Paradise Planet where I've saved all the characters who've died that I don't want them to die. Right? It's a little cringe, but I was 16 at the time.
Super
So
cringe.
yeah, so like the point is like the concept of the soul gem. So like these things can like live forever because Ray's got a soul gem too, which is why he's immortal and whatnot. It's like it was just kind of weird that a lot of that stuff matched up with old high school era me.
I actually remember when Ray was first listening to this book months ago, and he kept stopping the book and looking at me and he going, "I I could have written this book."
Yep, I probably could have if I was more into sci-fi than I was fantasy. I probably could have written something very similar to this. But like my mind would never have gone to these places because I'm much more fantasy oriented.
Gotta watch more Star Trek, man. It's all
Eh,
about the Picard. He'll get you in the right mindset.
there's so many Star Treks and they're all so long and it's
They
also repetitive.
listen. The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine. That's the only two.
No, I started watching Digimon again though.
You know what? It's pretty good.
Yep. Any final thoughts, guys?
Cats as a villain, kind of silly and kind of stupid.
No, it's beautiful because they didn't change the cat behavior. This is literally how cats act in real life. If you gave a
Just
cat
on a
intelligence,
galactic scale.
So
yeah,
so
on a galactic scale, if you gave a cat intelligence and you didn't bother like teaching it any, like you didn't train it to act like a human, you just, hey, all the cats in the world, snap fingers, intelligent. This is exactly how they would act.
it is, and I liked whether it was done intentionally, which I kind of hope it was, but even if it wasn't, the fact that at one point after Jean kills one of the cat emissaries, and then they steal their kid, and they keep the kid, and they're like, we need to socialize it, and the kid is just like hissing and spitting and fighting and like, I'll kill you all, I'll kill you all. But then they cut to like 15 years later, and Oliver is like a upstanding decent person, and it's just like with feral cats. It's like if you go find a feral kitten or just search feral kitten on YouTube, like they are fucking feisty. They don't realize they're harmless because they're tiny, but like you just pick it up by the scruff and put it in a box for a couple days to let it calm down, and then you give it food, and it's like, oh shit, I love you, I'm gonna be more behaved. And like that's what happened with Oliver. They literally took a child from the species and they acclimated it to civilized life. And the fact that even Oliver is like, I'd really like to show the dragons that we're not all horrible evil monsters, and they're like, oh, it's too soon. I felt really bad for Oliver.
Well, you get to see a lot more of him in the other books.
But yeah, it's just like real life. Like you get a cat from outside, you bring it inside, you give it food and pet it and let it calm down, and it's like, yeah, eventually it'll become more civilized.
So we gotta domesticate an entire galactic empire.
Well, the simple solution is you just murder all their leadership and then, you know, steal all their children.
But you can't do that. The dragons are pacifists.
Well, that's what the humans are for.
I don't know if they have leaderships. Like,
They do.
Yeah, they're a republic. According to the cats, they are a republic,
Yeah, and I guess sneak peek for one of the future books, they're kind of feudal.
and the dragons are an empire with a kind of just like Britain, where they even said that they're a true democracy, but they keep the royal family around because people like it.
I love it. As someone who loves monarchies, I love that they just have a figurehead royalty. It's great. I love it.
if you love monarchies, why you want to settle for the fake monarchy?
Well, personally, I like true monarchies where there's just one person in charge, but I can see why people think that's dictatory. Like I was like, just have a good king, silly. But I understand you don't get a choice in that. I just like the concept and the aesthetic of monarchs. I think that whole thing is cool, but realistically, I understand having only one person in charge, meh, which is why you kind of need a parliament or a senate to go with it. But also, it's my secret British showing the love of monarchies.
Yeah.
You really, I can see, what the fuck what is it, Union Jack? I can see
Yeah.
it fly behind you.
Yep.
Fucking redcoat.
But I think that's the only thing I want to bring up, because a lot of the fun stuff happens in the second book. We get to see more dragon culture because they have now officially met and introduced each other by the end of this book. So you get to see
I
more
want to see
dragon
more
society
bug
stuff.
culture. He was the greatest character.
What was his name, like Click Clack or something?
I don't remember if that's his actual name. To
Like,
be honest,
that
I had a
sounds
hard time
racist.
understanding. That does sound pretty racist, right?
Oh, Bug, what's your name? Click Clack? That's it. interdimensional war. As far as characters in this book that I hated, top three, I can't remember his name or its name, but the other alien species that Jung ended up taking with
David, something like that.
the one that sounded super mopey and like you're gonna let me go when I get to be an adult. It's not the writing, it's the narrator, the voice the narrator picked for it. I hated it so much; it was nails on a chalkboard to me. So I hate that character the most. Um, Followed by Jung herself, and then followed by Richard.
He just doesn't like the human main characters.
I don't like how
I remember something I need to ask you guys. So Dilatan, you've stopped like the last few pages, so you may not get like exactly what's going on. But how do you guys feel about Shumo in general? Her character, her arc, the way they left her, like just her in general. Because she
Well,
did,
it
in
didn't
fact,
really reestablish any kind of trust. Because they
yeah,
she walks in holding a literal lie or a withheld truth, however you want to
yeah,
phrase it.
she did
So
that
her
a lot.
character,
She lied a lot, basically withholding truth the entire time that they were diplomacying with each other.
yeah. So her like credibility completely gone.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
her as
okay
a
with it.
character, like 0 out of 10. Character wise, I guess 10 out of 10. Morality 0 out of 10. There's a whole bunch of layers,
10
which
out
is
of
good
10.
for a character.
You like Shumo?
I love Shumo. I jump in front of a bullet
He's
for her.
he's simping. He's simping.
So you
The thing,
explode then.
yeah. So the thing is, like, I I kind of like Shumo. Like, I get why she did what she did, and to be honest, I would have been similar if I was a dragon colonizer, right? Uh, but I can't help but feel bad for the way things end up with her. Like the final snapshot that we see of her being like dejected, sad, and like don't ever come back. You never get to see your kid, kind of deal. Go away. Like I can't help but feel sad about that, and sad with what other stuff that happens in the future books because she gets brought up from time to time. But at the same time, it's like I understand why they don't like and they don't trust her because she did flat out lie about a lot of the stuff.
To her, in her defense, actually, I don't know, not in her defense, anti-defense, she gets rejected through the entire fucking book. What did
Hmm.
she expect was going to happen? Richard dumped her like 5 times.
It's just
When
funny.
she walked in
Oh,
holding a bastard child, how did you think Richard was going to react? That's on
Dil-
her.
yeah. I remember now. I wanted to ask you guys the concept of being dragon struck. How you think about that?
I believe it.
Yep. Bantam. I've already dragon struck Bantam.
I mean,
Yeah,
Bantam's already sympathizing.
yeah. I spent almost the entire book going like, God damn, these humans don't know how good they got it, and they're rejecting it over and over.
The concept that if you get too close to a dragon and then separate, you'll just die. It's like it's hilarious and I love it because then my friends will never leave me.
Yeah, and that I'm already dragon struck with Ray.
See, I am a dragon, so it doesn't apply to me.
I'm dragon struck with you too.
Yeah. Mostly me.
I don't know. It's long distance.
Okay, so literally the way Dragon Strike works in the book, because I found Bantam first and was his friend for what was it, like 3-4 years before he met Dilatan.
A little bit longer than that, but yeah.
Yeah, technically the way it works in the book, I Dragon Struck Bantam, but he gets his dragon drug from Dilatan, we can call it. So he'll survive, he won't die. But I'm the one that struck him technically, right, Dilatan?
I'm
No,
the most powerful dragon struck. Let's settle that.
Sure.
Dilatan's also dragon struck.
You can't be struck if you're a dragon.
I like the idea of the dragon ships in this just being literal backpacks. Like they sit on the nose of their ship, and they fly around through space, and their
Oh yeah,
ship is
that's a fun image.
that.
Dilaton, I wanted to ask you. I whenever I read books, I always force Bantam to be the human in them. Like,
Ugh.
look, I'm Shumo and you're Richard, ha ha ha, kind of deal, right?
Uh-huh.
I need to ask you, since you kind of go both ways almost, depending on the media. In this particular setting, would you rather be a dragon like Shumo, or would you rather be a human who is just with a dragon like Richard?
Can I be Jumo and help set up colonies? That sounds like fun.
Well, the point is with the way this universe is built, would you rather be the dragon or be the human who's with a dragon?
More accurately, would you rather be a dragon or not be a dragon?
Would I rather be an all-powerful pacifist or a breeding toy that gets everything they desire?
Yes.
That's actually a tough one.
Yeah.
That's a thinker. See, on the one hand, all powerful can go anywhere around. On the other hand,
It'd be living
unlimited
space.
pleasure. See, there's a lot of things you gotta weigh in on this.
Yeah. You don't have an answer then? It's too hard to pick?
I mean, it's a thinker. You know how slow my gears turn. I'll go with human, but I ain't locking it in. I gotta think over this one.
Yeah. I would go with dragon because again it's so close to the concept I came up with all those years ago.
You're an all-powerful pacifist.
Yeah. I mean,
I'd be a cat.
I can still be a villain. You can't be a cat. The cats are the bad guys. They're not a Playboy race. Sorry.
Fuck! I am Ottoman. Space Khajiits.
You can be the one cat that Dilettante kidnaps and brainwashes.
Okay.
You can be Oliver.
Okay. I'll be Oliver. Because I don't want to be human.
Oh god, I got my work cut out for me.
Yeah, you do.
You're gonna have to deal with my my initial year or two of hating your guts and wanting to kill you every chance I get.
Repeatedly pissing on the same part of the floor over and over again.
Yep.
Oh my god.
All right, so let's wrap this up. Thank you for joining us, everybody, as we discussed the Dragon Empire book.
And our hatred for humanity.
Mostly Dragon.
Mostly mine. I've always known that I've hated mankind. That if aliens show up and aliens are like, hey, you and only you, we're going to blow up this whole fucking planet. Pick 10 people to come with you. I'd be like, all right, cool. Here's my list of 10 people. Let's go. Like, I wouldn't even...
Am I on the list of 10 people?
Of course you are.
Yay! Is Dilettante on the list of 10
Yes,
people?
of course he is.
Darn.
But I'm above Ray.
No. It's just a list. It's not a ranking. God.
It is a list of 10. That is 1 through 10. That is a ranking system, sir.
No.
I like the idea that he has to put our names by each other on the number 1 spot because we'll just fight each other.
Yep. But then Dilettante's going to be upset that your name is first with a comma and then his name.
Exactly. You put me behind him.
It's that
No,
whole
you know
trope
what?
of like cartoon characters when they work together. It's like, well, what is your name? Your name going to go first on the list or on the title or the building or the whatever.
No, we just have to come up with one of those like internet celebrity pairing names, like Rayatan, you know, and
Disgusting.
Raytan, and then I put that so you're both equal. There you go.
There we go. All right. Anyway, so thank you for joining us. I wanted to ask you two now. Do you wish to continue the series?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I as much as I hate it, as much as I just did nothing but bash the book, I actually really liked it.
How are the audiobooks the same length?
Let me go double check.
They're
They're definitely comparable.
The level of joy I felt whenever they focused on Shumo and the other dragons, and the level of hatred I experienced when focusing on Jiang and Richard, it was a back and forth seesaw, so it kept me interested.
Oh, wait! Before we close, back to the umbilical cord argument.
The other 2 books are shorter.
Oh, thank God.
This one was 15 hours, 17 minutes. The next one's only 12 hours and 13 hours. It's 1 minute shy of 13 hours.
Okay, but back to the egg argument. The umbilical cord is gone when they hatch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Checkmate.
So the way it works in eggs is they have the cord that spreads out throughout the yolk, and then as the embryo develops, the cord is reabsorbed into the body. That's why they're not born with it, because it gets reabsorbed. I think there might be some species where it falls off naturally, and they eat it after they hatch or whatever. I'm not sure. But the point is,
no, you're thinking of
it's
mammals by birth.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one who noticed Ray sometimes pronounces words a little weird or different? Not necessarily wrong, just different. Like he said yolk. Like he pronounced the L.
There's an L in there. Why would you not pronounce it?
Because every time I've ever heard anyone say it, it's just yolk. Yolk. Y-O-K-E.
That's your Georgia showing. We ignore all.
I am
We
not
ignore.
from Georgia.
You lived in
You-
Georgia long
I
enough.
lived there for a year.
It's too late. You're not from Georgia.
Oh God, no.
It's infected you.
Welcome
there's
to
a-
the
there's-
South, buddy.
There's an L. It's York.
But it's not pronounced like that. No one
Then
pronounces it.
why would you put the letter in there?
Well, just like with the word mnemonic.
Goddamn Americans bastardizing the English language.
There's the word mnemonic is spelled with an M, but it's an N sound. Mnemonic. You don't mnemonic,
It's mnemonic.
but okay, mnemonic still whatever. Mnemonic,
Whatever.
mnemonic. There's no M in
Okay.
the beginning.
All right, whatever. Bantam are gonna kill each other off camera on pronunciations. But before I murder you in your sleep, tell them where they can get in contact with us.
Oh God, you think so? All right, so we have a Twitter. It is at official wadpod. Or sorry, we have an X.
No.
It'll probably be something else next month. Our email is wadpodcastmail@gmail.com. And we have a Patreon at patreon.com/worldofdragonspodcast. And our Discord will be linked in the show notes.
Yep. And again, a special thank you to our VIP Elite Guard level patrons, Tricenix, Comrade, and Kazin.
Love you guys.
Yep. I admit I've been kind of falling behind on editing. I'm technically a whole episode behind at this point. I gotta actually sit down and finish it. It's just, editing is killing me slowly. But you
Baldur's
patrons,
Gate.
it's only slightly Baldur's Gate because there've been times when I can't play for whatever reason. It's like I could edit, but no, I'm gonna watch YouTube instead. It's just editing hurts my soul. But I'm neither just forced to do it. I've fallen behind. I'm sorry.
Diletant and I
I'll
will
get back on
try to do one. Diletant still needs to do at least one. The problem is that it's a lot easier because like I edited one and I thought I did a pretty good job, but it was a lot easier because Ray was able to come into my room and show me like this is how you do it. This here, this button, this command, and it's
These
like
hotkeys. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, so next time we'll continue the series. We'll do book 2 of whatever this series is called.
I'm planning on visiting Diletant early next year. I will show him how to edit one, and then at that point there'll be no excuse, and Diletant will have to edit at least one episode.
Oh no.
Yeah,
All right.
Diletant. Oh, by the way, it's probably not going to work out. We'll...
Maybe you shouldn't come after all.
Oh man, into January you say I'm gonna be super busy. I think. I'll have to
that's
reschedule.
too bad. I'm
Damn.
still gonna be there.
But yeah, so we'll do the second book of the Dragon Empire series called Guardian of Empire by Kylie Chan.
All right.
and yeah. Thank you all for joining us.
All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.